Hello everyone and welcome back to OverPlay, the only show on the internet that combines the amazingly overwrought frustration of an overview with the, let's say, madcap inconsistencies of a Let's Play. And while there's probably a good reason for that, we quite literally do not have time to talk about it today because we have to talk about Kingdom Hearts 3, a game that I have been trying to put into words for a long while now. And I still can't really put it into good words. What do I mean by that? Well, let's start with some of the basics. How's about the fact that this is either 9, 10, or maybe even 12 games, depending on which article you read, entry into the series. This is the first game to come out on Xbox and PC rather than just on PlayStation. And while yes, there is the memory archive, which gives you a bit of an update as to what the story was prior to this, after about the third one out of the 5, it kind of proves useless because it starts dropping a whole bunch of names and places that you should already probably have some information about. Then you just don't. But maybe that's just my inane ramblings. Let's just get into the game and see where we go from there. Now, to start things off, I will say I absolutely loved the first Kingdom Hearts. It was fun, it was lighthearted, and it was silly, and it tapped into that sense of childlike wonder that you have when you're watching a really good Disney movie or playing a good high fantasy game, and it did both. And honestly, it's something that a lot of games have tried and have all failed to replicate. Kingdom Hearts just managed to do it, I guess. And I guess the big question is, can it still do it? And the answer is, yeah, honestly. For all the overwrought story and the deep, complex things, which, don't worry, we'll get into a little bit of that later, this game still manages to make me feel kind of like a kid when I play it again. And that's really hard to do. But enough about what I feel about. Let's touch on something concrete. Let's talk about the visuals, which are mixed to good. The cutscenes and most of the in-game gameplay is pretty good, except when they try to blend scenes from the other games without doing any updates, really, and you kind of really see some polygonal fingers and faces. It kinda starts to show its age as it goes further back, but not always in a bad way. As always, the visuals are creative and interesting and stand on their own, which is a warm sight in a lot of today's very straightforward, very straightforward look at how am I supposed to fight these guys? The point is, it all looks interesting and cool. Okay, so I can't attack him head on. Got it. I was about... Did I do it with fire? That's great. What the heck? So, yeah, there's some stuff I don't understand. But, like I say, Kingdom Hearts 3 at least looks visually fine. It's lighthearted, and the visuals represent that. It's not meant to be taken super seriously, which is something I wish a lot of people that I talk to about Kingdom Hearts could come to some kind of comprehension about. But, at the same time, it gets across its visual impact and what it means. Which is better than a lot of games nowadays, I should say. It's not confused, and the blending of the art styles is very, very, well, very good. When I first heard about the idea that Disney and Final Fantasy characters were going to be inhabiting the same space, I didn't think for a second that they would have any kind of visual cohesion, but Kingdom Hearts has managed to pull it off. And, yeah, they're still doing it. Which, I'm not gonna lie, is really, really impressive. That being said, let's get into the controls, which are good for what they are. Again, like I said at the top, Kingdom Hearts is a bit of a mixed bag for me, and this is kind of where it really hits home for it. As you saw earlier, I wasn't doing too hot with some of the fighting, and that can come down to the way the controller is laid out. Mostly in how Kingdom Hearts was kind of developed in an awkward time when they were still slightly transitioning away from some of the more turn-based combat of the Final Fantasies and developing a more action-based gameplay element. And while it seems to have been well made here, the menu system in combat isn't so good. Rather than having a quick menu system that you can go through, you're still stuck with having to fiddle through the directional pad to select your items, your magics, all in the middle of being hit by a whole bunch of other things, which can be a little off-putting, shall we say. Outside of that, there's nothing wrong with the game itself. It's quick and able to be accessed fairly easily by anybody, and if I'm being completely honest, I very rarely have a reason to access my magic or items. Usually it's just hit the attack button until things die. Occasionally, if I want to get fancy, yeah, I'll find out there's a guard button and use it. But outside of that, just smack the things with the big key until they are dead. And that's about all you really need to know. Crap. Well, outside of the controls, I don't usually talk about this because I feel it gets encompassed mostly in the visual aspect. But let's go ahead and talk about level design. Now, since I skipped a lot of the other Kingdom Hearts, I can't necessarily speak to them, but this one seems to be going for way more of a vertical build than the previous entries that I have played. And that's both to its benefit and its detriment. While I definitely enjoy being able to move further along the path without having to go into multiple loading screens, having to fall all the way down and then have to climb back up because I hit the thing too many times for it to die isn't exactly what I would call a fun thing. Come on. There we go. Now I just got it. Now, one of the things that is new is these Disney ride attractions that you can do as special power-ups. Not always super necessary, but kind of fun. There's this one where you get into a little car and shoot little laser beams at things. There's the pirate ship where you swing back and forth on a giant rail system and deal all kinds of massive damage, and the mad teacups as you whirl around the level, dispensing damage and hurting all the bad guys. They're interesting and fun, and that's all I really need out of Kingdom Hearts, is to be interesting and fun. So, with all that being said, how does this stack up for the story? Well, alright, look guys, like I said earlier, I'm gonna level with you on this. I did not know I could do this. I haven't played a Kingdom Hearts game in a long time, and part of that is because there are so many freaking entries in this story. And it really doesn't hurt that you don't know how many of them are considered canon and how many aren't. Depending on who you ask, they're all canon, and that can be rather daunting. As a result, Kingdom Hearts is, dare I say it, rather convoluted in its story. So, for the purposes of just being straightforward, we're going to tackle what the story is for the overall. Sora and his friends, Donald, Goofy, and various other Disney and Final Fantasy peoples team up to fight the Heartless and try to defeat the darkness from taking Kingdom Hearts. And that is all I'm going to say about the story. Yes, it's more deeper than that. Yes, there's more to it. I am not coming anywhere close to touching that kind of stuff. Not because I don't think it's worth it, not because I don't think you're not worth it, but because I am simply too fantastically terrified about what I will or will not know when I actually end up getting into it. And that's kind of the biggest problem with Kingdom Hearts for me. As I said at the top, when I play this, I do feel like a kid. It's fun. There's a lot of this that I really like. The simplicity of just going around and hitting all these really goofy looking things, and they explode into a bunch of little orbs that I collect, and getting to play around in this Mount Olympus world. It's fun, it looks good, and I feel good doing it. But every time I stop to think about the story, every time I hear a mention of the Heartless, or Xehanort, or Ansem, or basically anything, I just absolutely cannot do it anymore. And honestly, I kind of think Kingdom Hearts has gotten too big for its own britches. Do I think this game is good? Absolutely. Do I think it's worth playing if you've never played it before? 100%. Do I think that it deserves all the acclamations and praise and the cult following that it's gotten? Not so much. But that's just me. And then, like I say, I understand why people like it. Hell, I like it a lot. Just not as much as a lot of people do. All in all, Kingdom Hearts 3 is exactly what it sets out to be, and exactly what it says it will be. A follow-up to the previous Kingdom Hearts games, and more fun playing in this world, which is always fun. Not gonna lie. Outside of that, though, if you haven't had much interest in Kingdom Hearts until now, I can't say that this one's gonna draw you in anymore, because it's just more down that rabbit hole and trying to find what all is going on inside it. And as a result, that might be the worst thing I can say about this game, which is darn sad. But that being said, those are just my opinions, and opinions are subjective. What do you guys think? I am not doing so great on this rail system. I know. Leave your comments down below, and if you like what you saw, consider giving a like and a subscription. Helps keep the channel afloat, and lets me get to play more games like this, and do things like grind a rail up to Cloud Ridge so that I can fight Hades and Maleficent and Pete in a giant leather zipper bondage outfit. God, I never really thought I'd say those words, but there we go. Either way, leave some comments down below, and we'll see you next time, everybody.